Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Wainwright. I'm a children's author. I'm the author of Out of the Smoke, which is an action-adventure novel set in Victorian London. And I want to start off the video today by asking you a question. Does anybody recognise this statue? Now, have a think about what you think it might be for and where you think it might be, if anybody's ever seen it before. Maybe you want to pause the video for a couple of minutes to ask each other or talk to your teacher or just have a think by yourself. Have you had a think? Well, I'll tell you, this statue is called the Shaftesbury Memorial Fountain and it's in the middle of London in Piccadilly Circus. It's a very famous statue. Lots and lots of people around the world come to have their picture taken by it. And it's called a memorial because it was put up to remember a man called Lord Shaftesbury. And Lord Shaftesbury is the man that I really wrote my book about. He's not the main character, but he influenced the story. Now, you might wonder, why would anyone put up a statue to this man called Lord Shaftesbury? And it was because he did lots of amazing things to help children. If you know, back in Victorian times, children used to have to do lots of horrible and dirty jobs. They'd work in factories, they'd work down mines, they'd work sweeping chimneys and doing lots of awful things. Lots of them didn't go to school, they didn't have good jobs, and things were very hard for them. But Lord Shaftesbury, who's this man here, he was a politician and he made lots of different laws and he helped children to stop working in those horrible, horrible places, and he made life a lot better for lots of children. And after he died, lots of people were very sad, and he had a great funeral, which loads of people lined the streets of London, and they were all very sad. His funeral was in Westminster Abbey. You might have seen on the news, the Queen's funeral was in Westminster Abbey. He had his funeral in the same place. And loads of people lined the streets, loads of poor people, and one thing that they said was, our Earl is gone. He was an Earl, because they felt like he was the man who really cared for them. So this statue was put up to remember him. There's also a street named after him, Shaftesbury Avenue, in the middle of London. If any of you go to the theatre in London ever, that's where lots of the theatres are. And there were lots of things called plaques put up as well, which is like a little notice, usually on a building somewhere where maybe he grew up or where he went to school. So this video today is really about memorials. So a memorial is something that you put up, like a plaque or like a statue, to remember something that somebody did, which is a lovely thing to do. And lots of memorials that you might see around are for people who fought in wars, or for kings or queens or famous people. There's these blue plaques that you might see on some buildings. When you're out and about, have a look around. And if you see one of these blue plaques, that usually tells you that a famous person stayed in that building or did something in that building, and you can read about them and learn a bit about them. So, your writing challenge for this week. Bit of a writing challenge, bit of an art challenge as well. First of all, I want you to think about someone in your life who you feel inspired by or who's done something great. Might be a famous person, someone like Marcus Rashford, for example, who's done a lot of good for kids. It might be someone in your family or a friend that you know. Might be your teacher. That's up to you. I want you to have a think about how this person has inspired you and what they've done. And write a little paragraph about that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be very long, just a few lines. And then I want you to design a memorial for them. I want you to think about where that memorial would be. Would it be somewhere that's connected with their life, where people go there and they can learn about them, maybe 100, 150 years in the future? Have a think about where it would be. Have a think about what would be written on it, usually their name, and maybe a very short line about what they did. And have a think about what it would look like. Would it be a statue, like the Memorial Fountain in Piccadilly, the Shaftesbury Memorial Fountain? Would it be a plaque that's beautifully decorated? Might it be a blue plaque on a building somewhere? So if you can, draw that memorial and have a think about what that might look like in 100, 200, even 300 years' time, so that people could remember what that extraordinary person in your life did. So there's your writing challenge. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the drawing, and I hope that you have a look around next time you're out and see if you can see any memorials around. Sometimes they're hidden in very unlikely places that might tell you a little bit about people who lived hundreds, maybe, of years ago. I hope you enjoy it. Bye-bye.